Hey everybody, Knuckles here. Yeah, welcome to the Raw Knuckles podcast. The NHL Draft was in Montreal here finally. 2022 draft was pretty exciting. This was supposed to go off back in 2020. COVID came and draft got canceled, and finally, I think what probably most of the scouts, GMs, and everybody in the NHL was waiting for was the draft in Montreal, because what a city to come to and enjoy restaurants, the nightlife, everything. So, just an awesome place to have the draft. Actually, the draft was always held in Montreal up until, I believe, 1985, when they moved it to Toronto for the first time. And the NHL offices used to be in Montreal, and that's why they always held it here. And they had it started at the offices, and then um, it went over to the Queen Elizabeth Hotel. But yeah, this draft was really exciting for this fan base, a fan base that for the past 20 something years has yearned and has been dying for a winning team and a Stanley Cup brought back to the city. We know the last cup in this town was 1992. So it's been a while. The fan base a little antsy, and God, this year's draft, everybody thinks that the number one pick is going to be Shane Wright, center iceman, and we get going with the draft, and boy, there was a lot of surprises. Um, I just want to go back a little bit and I guess tell you how things have changed with the NHL draft. In my own case, I was drafted back in 1978. Now, we didn't go to the draft back then. Like, it's a big show now, and players show up, families show up, the stands are full, and all the media is there, and it's exciting for these kids. There's no question. I'll just tell you, the night I was drafted, I was uh, in college at the time, 1978, and I was in a bar room called the Cask and Flagon, and I was having a few beers with a teammate of mine, Mike Sanford, and we were talking away, and all of a sudden, some kid comes running up. He said, "Hey, Chris, congratulations!" I'm there. What do you mean? What are you talking about? He said, "You got drafted." I said, "No way, really? What are you talking about?" He said, "You got drafted by the Montreal Canadiens. It was just on TV in the back." So he said, "Come." So we went to the back bar and asked the guy, that sports show that was on. He saw it on. He just saw it on. He said, "Let's try the other station. Maybe the sports hasn't come on yet," and they didn't address it. So sure enough, changed the station, and the sports was just coming on, and I'm watching, and it showed any local kids from the local colleges in Boston at the time: Boston College, Boston University, Northeastern, Harvard. Um, they were saying what kids from those teams got drafted. So sure enough, it comes up. Chris Nyland from Northeastern drafted in the 17th round, 231 out of 235 players. Now, geez, I get a kick out of it when I look back, but that night, I'll never forget. I was so excited. And I had a few in me, and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. And I remember coming home, seeing my dad, and how I think shocked and happy everybody was. So watching this draft and seeing young kids, getting chosen, and their families there, the surprises on their face, the happiness, the tears, the hugs, it's just so awesome. And it's fun to watch. And the Canadians certainly had their work cut out for them in changing the whole, I guess, makeup of this team. And not to knock any of the guys and their character, but there had to be some wholesale changes here to really change the direction after Mark Bergevin left. And Listen, Bergie did some great things here. There's no question about it, and he did some not so great things. His first go around as a general manager on his own, and was here for 10 years. He did some good things, like I said, and some things not so good. Um, he left this team. They were pretty tight up against the cap. Some contracts signed were questionable as far as the amount of money and and the length of some of those have come into question. Gallagher being one of them, right? He's going into the second year of that deal, which pays him pretty good salary of over $6 million a year, and some people seem to think that his game is in decline somewhat. Um, Listen, he's 30 years old, and when you hit that 30 mark, things, believe me, I've been there, start to go the other way a bit. Brendan certainly will show up every night and give his best. We know that by now. I just hope for him he can keep the pace of play up in the next few years and be able to maybe be part of uh, something really good here when all these young guys that have been drafted start to develop and start to be household names within the organization and the NHL. Anyway, let's get to the draft, and we will. Everybody's thinking the Habs, well, they need a center. Shane Wright, oh yeah, everybody, Shane Wright, Shane Wright, Shane Wright, Shane Wright, and the draft. I'm up actually in the box with some of the former players: Serge Savard, Petrus Brisebois, Vincent Danfous, Guy Carbonneau. A bunch of us are there, and we're waiting. And sure enough, Bettman opens everything up, and the Habs get called to the stage, and the anticipation of this foundational player for this team, a cornerstone player for this team, going into the future here, um, is looking good. And looking down in the stands, so many Wright jerseys, and uh, I'm just, oh, this is going to be. And listen, I'll tell you, I thought they were going to pick Wright, and here's why: center iceman, they need him, right? They've been for years. We need to get bigger at center. We need to get better at center. Okay, so we got Suzuki here now, and Dvorak in the 3-hole, Evans, but you need another top 6 center iceman, and Shane Wright kind of fits that bill, right? And sure enough, this team, and I thought I was on Melnick's show, and he asked me, and I thought they're going to pick Wright because one, yeah, they need a center. Two, listen, he was the overall consensus number 1 pick. Okay, so you go with him. It's certainly the talent is there, number 1 talent, no question. Um, the Habs need center iceman, and you think they're going to go with that. Now, I thought they would do it because you pick him. All right, it doesn't pan out. Well, come on. Everybody said this is the one. This is the guy. You don't pick him and he goes somewhere else and he flourishes and everybody's saying, oh, what a mistake. The old hindsight is 2020, and it is. But I also really didn't focus on another area. And Grant told us, Grant McCagg had him on, former NHL scout with the Habs, thought they were going to take the big guy, Juraj Slafkovsky. Now, he was on the show here and said it. And, well, okay. Well, it came to fruition. Kent Hughes steps up to the microphone and says Montreal Canadiens are the number 1 pick from Slovak team, whatever team he was with in La Liga. He ends up picking Juraj Slafkovsky. Now, this kid is 6'4". He is huge, and he has hands that can skate. And I like the fact that, listen, the Cavs need center iceman. Yeah, they do. So they don't pick the center. They pick this rather large left wing who has great hands, can skate, all that. And they pass on the center iceman. I said, whoa. So is this really the best player that this team can take right now? And listen, I look at this team, or they're small at center. They have been. They've been lacking at that position over the years. And another area that they've really been lacking in is size. And boy, was that ever addressed here. And I'm so happy they addressed it. So, what are they going to do? They have another pick in the first round at 26. And okay, the 26, maybe you can get another center iceman there. But what do we see happen? The Canadians end up trading a guy that, I'm going to miss him, Alexander Romanov. And he goes to the Islanders. Islanders turn around and trade the pick to Chicago, number 13, actually, the pick, I believe. And the Habs end up getting Kirby Dach, 21-year-old center iceman who 6'4", another big guy. So they address the center ice position there. And listen, you're gonna miss Romanov. There's no question. You're not gonna get anything unless you give up something good. And there are quite a few defensemen in this system coming up. And one, when we look at a replacement for Romanov, you're looking at a Caden Gooley. Big, tough, hits, can play the game. And I think there's a little more upside offensively with Gooley. We'll see. But, man, the hits that this kid used to throw, and I love him. He's already a top 4 D, man. Will he ever be top 2? Romanov, who knows? But listen, you have to give up to get, and they did it in this case. And Kirby Dach comes in, 21 years old, 6'4", big guy. Struggled somewhat coming his rookie year, had a decent rookie year, and then he struggled a bit. He broke his wrist, was out. He was rushed back in the lineup in Chicago. So there's some the potential upside with Kirby Dach. I'm excited by this, no question. This team got big up front. They got more talented up front, and it just really cool to see Kent Hughes along with Jeff Gorton address the things they had to address in that first round. Now, listen, I know maybe all the fans and everybody were kind of shocked when they didn't take Wright, but I'm cool with that. I love that. I love that these guys are, listen, they have in their heads what they want to do with this team moving forward, and how they want to get this team back to where they belong, and that's winning Stanley Cups. Now, you look at the potential moving forward with some of the talent here, and now some of the size, and I'm sure that's going to continue to be addressed. And listen, by no means are they finished here, but what a great foundation of young players I think they now have in the system. And I think one of the things over the years with Berge is, especially the first 6 years, maybe he was so focused more on the NHL team. The American Hockey League team wasn't that good. Matter of fact, they sucked. So, I think in the latter years he started to address that a little bit more and started, stockpile picks, started, doing some good things, and then obviously, not here anymore. But Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton have certainly picked up the ball and they're running with it. So I really like what the Habs have done here. And again, Slafkovsky, what more can you say about this kid? He was a young boy, 17, 18 years old, playing in La Liga. He won bronze medal with Slovakia in the Olympics, Beijing Olympics. It's the first men's Olympic medal for Slovakia in forever. Are you kidding me? He was named MVP of the Olympics, which is incredible. He had 7 points, um, tied for the tournament lead, and he led Slovakia with 24 shots on goal. 17 years old at the time, and you know, he really, really is a guy that I think is going to flourish here in this city. And you never know until they step on the ice. I get it, and I always said it. The draft is a crapshoot, and we look at the Habs certainly, and here they are hosting the draft, number one pick overall. The last time they did it was in 1980. They were hosting the draft. They had the number one pick overall. It was between Doug Wickenheiser, Denny Savard, and the Habs ended up going with Doug Wickenheiser. Wick never really was able to reach his potential here. A dear friend, and certainly um, spent a lot of time with Doug here and know what he went through. It was terrible what he went through, mentally, physically, emotionally. It was a tough time for him here. He was constantly compared to Denny Savard. Denny's went to Chicago. His career took off, flourished, get points, just played really, just put the numbers up. And Wick just never quite reached, I think, that level that people thought or they expected him to reach, and ended up being traded. And off to St. Louis he went. And God rest his soul, Doug, who passed a few years back. Just a sad story, not all the stories in the draft, uh, um, you know, just great ones. They don't all turn out like we like to see them turn out with success. So, um, yeah, I'm so excited the Habs here. And then with their second pick in that first round, the Habs end up picking up another wing, a right wing, Philip Mesar, another Slovak, uh, a teammate of Slafkovsky. They grew up together playing hockey, and it's hilarious. They draft Mesar, and he gets up and he's speaking in an interview, and they're talking about being drafted. You must be happy being drafted along with your teammate Slafkovsky. You guys grew up together, and he said the lady interviewing says your teammate Juraj Slafkovsky says that you're a real beast. And he said, "Oh, that is nice, but he is a better beast." And when you look at the size difference, there's a big difference. He's a smaller player, yet really creative offensively. He can create, good stick handler, good vision. He has a good shot, able to deliver the puck. So, yeah, he's possibly coming over here and playing with the Kitchener Rangers next season, which would be good for him to transition from the European League to hockey over here before he's able to crack that Habs lineup. And then we look at the first pick of the second round, Owen Beck, another center iceman, Mississauga Steelheads. He's good size center. He plays well both ends of the ice. He had 21 goals, 51 points in 68 games last year with the Steelheads. 6 foot, 190. He's got pretty good speed, good offensively, and here's a guy that a good two-way play. And to get him, some people had him, late first round, early second. He goes with that pick in the second round with the Habs, and then the Habs picked Lane Hutson also in the second round. Um, People seem to think this is a pick with the most upside from that second round. He may have dropped to the end of the second round. They were talking first round. No, not first round, but early second round, and he kind of slipped to late um, in the second round. He has a potential certainly to be pretty good offensive D-man. He scored 10 goals, 63 points, 60 games for the U.S. development program. He had really good production for a defenseman. And a lot of NHL scouts weren't high on this kid because he wasn't that big. Now, again, small guys can play this game, the speed, the quickness, all that. Back in defense, scouts, coaches worry because what's the worry? The worry is size in the defensive zone in front of the net, challenging guys, blocking guys out, being able to defend well. And smaller players sometimes get out muscled, can't clear the front, but there's other things they can do to avert that, right? And that's their speed, their quickness, getting the puck, being able to have a really good stick, moving the puck quick, getting out of trouble, getting back there quick for the puck, getting their shoulders turned up ice and looking what's going on. And again, we look at Avalanche, what they did in the playoffs, McCaw, Bowen Byram, company, Girard, hello, smaller players back on D that were really effective. So if you have too many small guys, I get it. And I think the Habs basically been small over especially up front over the past few years. And I think they've addressed that now up front. And on the back end, you're going to need those quick, mobile, puck-moving guys. So it's going to be certainly going to be interesting. See what Hutson does here down the road, but still a ways off. Yeah, it was exciting this draft, no question. Like I said, the Habs ended up having. Oh God, they picked in the third round 2 more, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, sixth, and 2 in the seventh. They drafted in the third round Adam Eggstrom, defenseman out of Sweden, another left wing, Cedric Gwyndon, a winger out of Owen Sound. Picked another center iceman in the fifth round, 130 overall from Seattle Thunderbirds, Jared Davidson. And in the sixth round, Emmett Croteau, a goaltender for the Waterloo Blackhawks in the USHL. So they picked the goaltender, where goaltenders usually get picked late in the draft. And so listen, I think the Habs had a great draft overall. Overall, the NHL draft, it was fun to be there. It was fun to watch. The Devils had the second pick. They picked Simon Nemec, D-man, real out of Slovakia, really, really good player. They didn't take Wright. Why didn't they take Wright? Well, they're stacked at center ice, New Jersey. So they said, we're not taking Shane Wright. And then you figure, the Coyotes are going to take him. Coyotes didn't. They took Logan Cooley at, center iceman, USA under 18. He played and incredible. Everybody's waiting. When is Shane Wright going to be taken? He was taken number 4 overall by the Kraken. And, listen, I sat there. I kind of felt bad for this kid. I did. I'm like, God, everybody talk the talk. He's still a young kid. I don't care. Some people say, oh, he's cocky. He's lazy. He's a young kid. And I know, okay, you're playing junior hockey and, everybody reads your potential and expects you to do this, expects you to do that. These kids are, they're still developing in a lot of ways. They're kids. And I felt bad for him, as he sat there. And then when they finally picked him, he hugged his dad. And I thought it was a great moment. could see his dad, kind of whispering in his ear, saying something, and he wants to prove, and he's going to get the opportunity. He's going to Seattle Kraken. I think it's honestly a really good place for him. The pressure here in Montreal to make sure your skates fit, because boy, the pressure if he came in there 1 overall, constantly under the microscope. And I so is the other kid. Slafkovsky's going to be under the microscope, but boy, um, he seems really mature for his age, well-spoken. I'm just looking forward to that big time. I think it's such a great move by the Habs. But Wright, going back to Wright, I think it's good for him being Seattle. Not going to be not the pressure that he will have faced here, and we'll see what he does. I hope the kid has success, no question. The Kraken, when you look at him too, taken right, they have Matty Beniers, who was the number 2 pick in the 2021 draft out of Massachusetts, who is a phenomenal two-way hockey player, center iceman. So they got, and he's been he's been compared to Patrice Bergeron a little bit, and he got that hockey IQ. So it's gonna be interesting to see, Wright's skill and his maturity. Um, as he grows in the game and has that opportunity to play. And listen, will he be in Seattle's opening night roster? I would think so. But that remains to be seen, and we'll be watching that closely, no question about it. People here in Montreal will forever have their eyes on what Shane Wright is doing, and certainly Slafkovsky. You're going to see them both playing the NHL, and there's going to be a constant comparison to these two. And if his career takes off right and he does better than Slafkovsky, and you're going to hear it. You're going to hear, oh my God, we should have taken him. Then if it doesn't go so well for Wright and the other kid takes off, we made the right move. So, you can't win for trying here. And the draft was awesome. Flyers picked 5, Cutter Gauthier, left winger. The Jackets took David Yurzik out of Czechia, sorry. And the Blackhawks took a D-man, number 7, Kevin Korchinski out of Seattle and WHL. The Red Wings picking at 8, Marco Kasper out of Sweden, center iceman. The Sabres picked Matty Savoy out of Winnipeg, WHL, center iceman. Quite a few centermen in this draft, and certainly we knew the Habs needed one, but and they got him, Kirby Dach. And then Anaheim Ducks took Pavel Mintyukov out of Saginaw in the OHL. I wonder, when we look at players, and I don't know, I think there's only 3 Russian players taken and in the draft, and with all what's going on with Russia and the Ukraine right now, the insanity of that whole thing, and we know what happened to Fedotov, the goaltender, Philadelphia. Putin grabbed him, stuck him in the army, said, "You got to do your thing here. See you later," and he's not coming over. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward. Russian players here in the NHL, and if they're back home in Russia and they want to come back here to the U.S. Kirill the Thrill has tried to enter the U.S. twice and been denied. So I wonder what's going to happen there. That's something certainly we got to keep an eye on. So listen, the NHL draft, I don't go through every pick, drive you people crazy. I know a lot of you are just interested in the Habs stuff, but overall it's awesome NHL draft. A lot of fun here in Montreal. Habs always do it right. Incredible job. Great food they had, everybody, and just really, they did it up. You know, the building looked awesome, and a lot of fun. Martin St. Louis got up and spoke at the beginning. It was awesome. This kid, I really liked him. Intelligent, smart kid. I talked to a few players. I talked to Nick Suzuki, Chris Weidman, and both said how much respect they have for him, and what a breath of fresh air he was coming in as coach, and the way he spoke to the players and um, coaches the players, and trying to get each player to, um, live up to that potential, and helping each player get to where they should get in this game. So that, to hear that from those players was awesome, and I certainly look forward to what's going on here now with this new group in the front office, and Martin behind the bench. Good things in the future here for the Habs. Overall, awesome, successful draft for the Canadians, and yeah, um, just awesome, stuff for the Habs. I can't wait to see the big man at center ice, opening night on the wing with Suzuki and Caulfield. Suzuki center ice, Caulfield, and the big fella, Juraj Slafkovsky. That's another tongue twister. I gotta tell you, the Kotkaniemi, it took me a while. Like, I think a lot of people, whatever, Kotkaniemi, and now it's Juraj Slafkovsky. So good on the Habs, good on the NHL, put on a great show. And wouldn't you know, just Bettman gets up here and they boo Gary Bettman. They just booed him every time. And it's funny. I was sitting with Serge, and Serge said, "Oh, that's bad. They should just come on, they give the guy some respect." And listen, look at where the league is, and look what they've been through. To be honest, and I'm going to do this. You know, I've been critical of Bettman over the years, but boy, has he done a great job for the owners, and let's face it, for the players too. I mean, the players. This league is well off. It's grown. It's exciting. It. You know, he's done a pretty good goddamn job when you really step back and look at where he's taken this league from that business sense. 32 teams now, incredible. Guys are all making money. You get that short window to make it, and they certainly are. They can set themselves up for life, and a lot has to do certainly with some of the decisions he made over the years. So the booing, and I get it. And he was funny. He plays along with it. And funny, they booed him first couple times he got to the mic. And then, like, about the fourth time he got back on the mic, it was kind of like, boo, it was really low. And he said, "Oh, you seem like you're running out of gas." And the whole place, they started booing again. So he played along with it, had fun. It was a good draft overall for everybody, NHL, the Canadians, and the 31 other teams. The original 32, folks. We've gone from the original 6 to the original 32. Thanks for joining us today. Awesome stuff. And go Habs, go.